Welcome back to the deep dive. Our mission today, well, it's laser focused. We are diving deep into probably the most common reason people fail to achieve their biggest goals. You know, that moment when the universe doesn't send a gentle signpost, but instead sends what our sources call a freaking train wreck. We're unpacking that crucial third step of pursuing goals, managing resistance, or, well, obstacles.
Exactly. It's such a critical point in the process. We start off, creating the desire, the goal, then we spend time living it inside, visualizing it, really feeling what it's like to have it. And that internal work, step two, its main job is simple. Just make it feel good. That's it. It's not actually about making the thing happen out there.
Right, but then, bam, real life happens. We hit what the material calls the brick wall.
Yeah.
We run into a problem that just feels enormous. Maybe a financial crisis, a sudden health scare, some career hurdle that seems impossible. And suddenly, you just lose all perspective. That mental movie of success that just grinds to a halt. All you can think is, there's no way I'll never get through this one.
And that feeling right there, that paralyzing sense of never, that's exactly what we need to tackle, because what you're experiencing isn't just, an external thing. It's a huge crisis of focus. And to handle it, we really have to start with a fundamental law. Seems basic, but it's key.
Okay, let's unpack this law. Because I think if you're the kind of person who just tries to push through problems like brute force, this could be a big wake-up call. The principle is focused growth. Simple idea, whatever you focus on gets bigger.
And that simple statement hides a really devastating truth sometimes. What gets magnified is whatever gets your attention. It doesn't matter if you consciously love it or if you absolutely hate it. Focus feeds it.
Okay, so let's say I'm struggling with debt. And like every single hour, I'm just agonizing over that number, how impossible it feels. I'm not just acknowledging the debt exists. I'm actually, energetically feeding the feeling of lack.
Scarcity. You got it. You are staring straight at that wall. And by doing that, you are basically allowing the wall to get bigger, more solid in your experience. The more you focus on the details of the problem, how complex it is, how much it hurts, how unfair it feels, the harder it actually becomes to see any way out.
But why? Why can't I be totally focused on the wall and at the same time be looking for the ladder to climb over it? It feels like I should focus on the problem to solve it.
Yeah, that seems logical, doesn't it? But here's the thing. The problem and the solution exist on two totally different frequencies, fundamentally different. Think about tuning an old radio. If your internal state, your frequency is dialed into the static, the worry, the scarcity of the problem, then the only information you can possibly pick up is more reasons why the problem is real and more stuff to worry about.
Okay. So a problem-focused frequency literally blocks out the solutions. Like they're broadcasting, but I'm not tuned in. You need to shift the dial. But man, that feels almost impossible when your world feels like it's crumbling around you.
It really does. And that's why this next tension we need to talk about is so critical. The difference between forcing and allowing. When that huge obstacle shows up, the gut reaction, especially for ambitious people, right, is to stop flowing and just start forcing.
Okay, define forcing, though, because it sounds like effort, and usually we think effort is good. How do we know if it's like inspired positive effort versus this toxic forcing?
That's a really important distinction. Toxic forcing is effort, but it's effort that's completely tainted by fear, underlying fear. Forcing brings stress and tension into your whole system because you're trying to make the outcome happen in the physical world before you're really vibrationally ready to receive it. It's basically trying to control things you just can't control.
Right, and we read this analogy. It's brilliant. Forcing is like driving your car with one foot slammed on the gas and the other foot slammed on the brake at the same time.
Exactly that. You're burning fuel like crazy, creating all this heat and stress in the engine, and you're not going anywhere. Or barely moving. You're literally working against yourself. Forcing constricts the very flow of good ideas, solutions, abundance, whatever it is you want. It's fundamentally an act of non-trust.
Okay, so if forcing is that desperate need to just conquer the obstacle, beat it down with sheer will, the alternative is allowing, and that requires surrender, which, honestly, that word sounds so counterintuitive when you're facing a massive crisis. Surrender.
Yes, surrender can be a tricky word. It doesn't mean giving up or being passive, like rolling over. Not at all. It means stepping back from trying to emotionally control everything, from that desperate need to dictate the how and the when. The key insight here is powerful. Miracles aren't really earned through struggle. They are received. They happen not by conquering the wall, but by surrendering the tension you're holding about the wall. We just can't force the universe or life or whatever you want to call it to bend to our timeline. We can only allow the solution to show up by changing our internal state, our frequency. Allowing is that conscious choice to trust that there are resources, solutions, possibilities that you just can't see from your current panicked perspective.
Okay, that clarifies it a lot. So we're shifting from actively fighting the wall, which is forcing,
Yeah.
to actively managing our focus, which opens the door to allowing. So if the solution isn't found by just staring harder at the wall, how do we intentionally manage our focus away from the disaster?
The deep dive material gives us two core strategies, really brilliant, practical ways to intentionally not look at the wall. Yes, exactly. And both are designed specifically to shift you off that destructive problem frequency and onto a more neutral or even positive solution frequency, where you can actually perceive the way forward.
Okay, strategy 1, looking past the obstacle, or as they put it, going way past it. This one requires radical long-term thinking.
Yeah.
So when you're faced with this problem that feels impossible right now, you consciously choose a point of awareness way, way into the future.
Yeah, we're talking maybe 5 years from now, maybe even 10. It sounds kind of out there, but it works like an immediate emotional circuit breaker. By forcing your mind just for a moment to imagine your successful state maybe 5 years after this disaster, you automatically start to loosen your emotional grip on the current obstacle. The wall might still be there physically, but that terrifying future the wall seems to promise, suddenly that feels a bit more optional.
And the material gives this really specific, kind of funny, and definitely memorable way to actually do this. You don't even have to look past the current goal necessarily. You just pick any place or memory that feels good, something totally unrelated to the crisis.
Exactly. They use the example of recalling a specific bus stop in Anaheim, like the one near McDonald's and Starbucks on Catella and State. And you just focus all your energy on that memory, the sights, the sounds, whatever. It's arbitrary, specific, but hopefully positive or at least neutral.
So you're not trying to solve the huge problem at all in that moment. You're just mentally hanging out at that bus stop.
It's strategic mental diversion. You focus intently on something that feels good, or even sometimes just a little less worse than staring at the wall. That tiny shift, which seems almost silly, can be enough to change your internal frequency. It disengages that scarcity panic mindset, and it creates space for the solution, the path through the wall, to actually become visible to you.
That makes total sense. It literally forces your emotional brain out of that immediate threat loop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, strategy 2 is almost the opposite, isn't it? It's kind of counterintuitive, bringing it right back to here. If strategy 1 is zooming way out into the future, strategy 2 is zooming way into the ultra-present moment.
Exactly. Intensive grounding in the now. You focus all your awareness deliberately on the physical present moment, right here, right now. And the reason this works is crucial. That wall, that terrifying train wreck you're anticipating, most of the time, it's a perceived outcome. And the good news is it's usually not actually here yet.
So all the panic, the tension, the physical stress,
Yeah.
it's being generated by a hypothetical future projection, not by the actual physical moment I'm standing in right now.
Precisely. So you ground yourself using intense sensory focus. Like really focus intensely on the aroma and the taste of your cup of coffee. Notice the warmth of the mug. Or if you're outside walking, really feel the sensation of the grass or the dirt under your feet, the breeze on your skin. You are intentionally shifting your awareness away from the catastrophic future that hasn't arrived to the immediate, often neutral, or maybe even slightly positive physical experience of being alive right now.
It's like it gives your rational mind a chance to catch up with the emotional panic. It buys you some breathing room. And sometimes, the material suggests, the best action to take regarding the problem is actually no action at all.
Sometimes the absolute best thing you can do is to just go do something else. Seriously. Stop trying to figure it out. Stop trying to beat down the problem. Because remember the frequency thing. While you are focused on the problem, locked into that frequency, you will only find more evidence for why it's unsolvable.
I love that they threw in that pop culture reference here, too.
Yeah.
That classic bit from Men in Black. The world might be ending, everything's going crazy, so what do? They go have pie.
Exactly. You need to get your head out of it, even for a little while. The simple, physical, mundane act of getting coffee or eating pie. It's a mechanism for changing your internal soundtrack, your frequency. It allows your subconscious, your intuition, whatever you call it, to work on the solution in the background, while your conscious mind takes a break and vibrates on a different, maybe just neutral frequency.
Okay, so how powerful is this focus shift, really? I mean, when the obstacle isn't just a bad day or, a budget shortfall, but something truly life-altering. The material shares this incredible anecdote about a cancer diagnosis, which I think for most people, that's the definition of an overwhelming, terrifying wall.
It really is the ultimate test of these principles, isn't it?
Yeah.
So this individual gets the diagnosis, but instead of letting the fear automatically generate the problem frequency, they made a very intentional, almost radical decision about where to put their focus.
Right. They decided to give absolutely no power to the diagnosis itself.
Hmm.
That diagnosis was the wall, and they refused to energize it. They stayed positive, deliberately surrounded themselves with love and support, and this part really stands out. It's almost shocking.
Yeah.
They chose to, and I quote, really enjoy the whole chemo process because it was a new experience.
Wow. Yeah. That specific statement tells you everything you need to know about managing frequency, doesn't it? They didn't deny the reality of the treatment, the physical process, but they utterly refused to let the diagnosis or the process dictate their internal emotional state or their projected future. They consciously controlled the narrative, the meaning they assigned, and the quality of their attention, even right in the middle of intense physical hardship.
And that reframing, that intentional choice of focus, is what, according to the story, allowed the healing to happen. They were cancer-free relatively quickly.
It confirms the whole synthesis, really. The cancer was a harsh reality. It was there. But the individual didn't try to conquer it or, physically beat the hell out of the disease through sheer tension and force. They threaded their way through the process by meticulously managing their internal frequency, choosing where they gave their attention and their power. And that intentional focus is what dictates your future experience, not the wall's grim projection of your future.
So this brings us right back around, doesn't it?
Yeah.
When you face that brick wall, that train wreck, you have this fundamental choice point. It's between the exhausting, grinding tension of forcing and conquering,
Yeah.
or the, freedom and receptivity of allowing and receiving, managed entirely by where you put your focus.
Exactly. And that choice, made moment by moment, really defines the experience of life itself. There's a concept that ties all this together nicely. Thinking of yourself as a warrior in training. Warriors aren't defined because they never face obstacles or danger. Quite the opposite. They're defined by their willingness to step into those difficult areas, those places where maybe other people hesitate to go.
Acknowledging that, yeah, you'll probably get wounded sometimes. You're going to collect some scars, maybe literally, maybe figuratively, but you keep going anyway. And you consciously choose where you place your focus, even when the pressure feels immense.
Because life is designed to be lived, scars and all. Being a warrior isn't about somehow avoiding the pain or the difficulty. It's about choosing to look past the wall or through the present moment, even while you're learning those scars. It's about managing your inner state through it all.
That's a really powerful final thought to leave us with. Thank you for helping us navigate these really crucial sources on dealing with resistance. So for everyone listening, whether your wall today feels like a financial mess or maybe just a really bad Tuesday, remember this choice. Take a moment. Go find your mental happy bus stop or really, really focus on the taste of that coffee. Try applying these focus management techniques in your own life. We'll catch you next time for the next deep dive.